It's the radio guy, Mike Prince. Welcome to another episode of the Mike Prince Show right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. Our social media handles, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter are all at the Mike Prince Show. The YouTube channel is Open Mic Broadcast Network. Our 24-hour dial-in message line is 713-570-6736. And without any further delay, we're going to jump right into today's episode. Well, they're still talking about the Super Bowl and what a finish it ended up being. Patrick Mahomes, the third African American quarterback to win a Super Bowl. You know he's on cloud nine on today. Now the work begins for defending your title, and you got to give it up for Andy Reid. Andy Reid finally cracks the safe combination and gets on the other side of the ever oh so elusive Lombardi Trophy. What did you think about the Super Bowl? I know last night on the show, we talked about, at least from my experiences, it had its moments. It was kind of stagnant at times. I even fell asleep at one point. But then around that 11-minute mark, around the third quarter, it really just took off into another element, and it became a very entertaining Super Bowl. Average cost for a 30-second ad during the Super Bowl was $5.1 million. That's a lot of bread to spread your message. And guess what? If the market can bear it, to God be the glory. And when you look at it, I tell you guys all the time, a football game to some is an actual game or event. But to the marketer, to the media source, it is simply 64 30-second spots for sale, or 32 one-minute spots. And if you look at what was on the table, according to the reports of what was being spent, the Super Bowl, just in advertising alone, made an estimate $326 million for the ads available during that contest. $326,400,000. That is getting it done. And so now the dust begins to settle. And to be quite honest with you, I didn't even get a chance to partake or get engaged with any Super Bowl advertisement. I was able to enjoy the first half of the game with the Prairie View Athletic Club. Nice turnout, an annual event that the club does for the Super Bowl. It was just like a family-like atmosphere. We had a real good time. In fact, I encourage you guys who are part of the Prairie View family to engage yourself in a very positive way of supporting Prairie View Athletics by becoming a member of the Prairie View Athletic Club. You can simply dial 936-857-5817, and they'll be more than happy to help you get registered and sign up. That number again is 936-857-5817. So back to the Super Bowl, a lot of kickback right now over the J-Lo performance, this, that, and the other. I don't know. I didn't get a chance to see that. I was engaged with other members getting ready for the show on last night. And the show on last night was pretty good up until the last segment. And I thoroughly apologize for that. We had a late start on the show due to the Super Bowl. We didn't want to come on while the Super Bowl was still going on. And as a result, we got about a 30-minute late start than usual at 9 o'clock on Sunday nights. And as a result, one of our featured guests, Coach Byron Smith, and we'll talk about the basketball a little bit later on here. When I contacted he and our other guest, Olin Parker, I said that we would start at 9:30. Between the conversation of Coach Smith and myself, I think he said I would call him at 9:30. So we kind of missed it. Long story short, I get sleepy, folks, at about 5:30. I get up 2:30, 3:30 in the morning. And so by 5:30, I'm worn to the nub. And we ended up missing each other, but we came in late and had a dynamic interview, at least I thought, with Coach Byron Smith talking about the Panthers falling short Saturday at Alabama State and the preparations for tonight's contest against Alabama A&M. And all this beautiful dialogue going on, I forgot to have his microphone opened up for the conversation. So it went live. It was about a 10, 15-minute interview of me talking, I guess, to Ghost if you were listening live. But we had to go and change that up. So on the flip side of today's episode, we'll give you a summary of what Coach Smith and I talked about. But nonetheless, a great show on last night. Baseball season is coming right along. February 14th will be here before you know it. As a matter of fact, for those of you who enjoy baseball, we're not working, but we already have our baseball projected schedule for broadcast for 2020. You can go to Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. We'll even try to post it on Instagram as well as Facebook. All of it is the same, The Mike Prince Show. And of course, softball season is about to take off. Gave the projections from the Southwestern Athletic Conference on last week's episode. Baseball had yet to be released. I believe it's supposed to be released on this week. So we're excited to hear about that. And speaking of things on this week, the Prairie View National Signing Day Edition 2 will be this Wednesday, February the 5th in Houston, Texas. We just got the information on Friday late afternoon, and we're trying to make sure that we can work the logistics out as far as trying to be there live with a special edition of the broadcast. But we're still working that out, and we'll get with the powers to be to see how we can logistically line that up. But a lot of exciting things going on in the atmosphere, not only on the campus of Prairie View, but throughout college campuses across the country. I'm still going back thinking to the 30-second spots available for the Super Bowl. $5.1 million. Oh, be able to get that kind of pricing for a 30-second spot here. Keep dreaming, right? But nonetheless, it all works out the same. And speaking of taking breaks, we're going to take us a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll talk about SWAC basketball and the matchups for tonight. You listen to the Mike Prince Show right here at the Open Mic Broadcast Network. We'll be right back. Reach more potential customers through our sports radio package by dialing 832-213-8824. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Mike Prince Show, the Monday edition, the day after Super Bowl. A lot of people are trying to petition that the day after the Super Bowl would be treated like a holiday. You know, people go all out for their hosting or traveling to various Super Bowl parties. Some people spend one half of the Super Bowl party at one location and the second half at another. So it's a lot that goes into it, and people are just worn out, fatigued. And people have been petitioning, maybe they need to declare like a national holiday the Monday after Super Bowl. What do you think? Let us know. 713-570-6736 and weigh in on the little opinion poll, if you would. And speaking of polls and standings and all that good jazz, the Lady Panthers able to rebound double overtime against Alabama State. And now when you look up, they've climbed into the middle of the pack with their 4-4 record as they get a chance now to redeem themselves even further to take on Alabama A&M. They and Alabama A&M are locked with a 4-4 record. Technically, there's a tie for fourth place between the two, or should I say fifth place between the two, depending on how you look at it. Because of overall records, Alabama A&M are ahead of the Panthers right now with an 8-11 record. Panthers with a 7-13 record overall, but conference-wise, they're at 4-4. Jackson State surprising everyone in the Southwestern Conference. They're at 8-0 as we get ready for the final game of the first half of tonight's battles. Texas Southern's at 7-1. Southern University is at 7-2. Alcorn is at 5-4. As we mentioned, Alabama A&M and Prairie View are at 4-4. Arkansas Pine Bluff under Coach Don Brown is at 3-5. Alabama State is at 2-6. Gramblin's at 1-7. And the Mississippi Valley State Delta Devilettes, they are yet to find a win within conference play. 0-8, 1-18 overall. Tonight's matchups for the Southwestern Athletic Conference on the women's side of things, with both the men and women, they play the same opponents. But starting at 5:30 across the board, Prairie View at Alabama A&M, Texas Southern at Alabama State. Jackson State will be at Pine Bluff. Grambling at Mississippi Valley. All games scheduled for 5:30 tip-offs. Saturday night men's basketball action throughout the Southwestern Athletic Conference found Jackson State victorious over Mississippi Valley by the score of 85-65. Alcorn State falling short to Southern University by the score of 93-82. Prairie View loses to Alabama State by the score of 52-49. Texas Southern was victorious over Alabama A&M by the score of 82-73. Grambling State stepping in the right direction with the win over Arkansas Pine Bluff by the score of 49-47. As far as men basketball goes throughout the Southwestern Athletic Conference, the Texas Southern Tigers on top with a 7-1 conference record, 10-11 overall. Prairie View at 6-2 after the loss to Alabama State on Saturday. Alcorn is at 6-3, just as Southern University is at 6-3. Those would be your top four. Grambling State and Jackson State both come in at 4-4. Alabama State's at 3-5. Alabama A&M is at 2-6. Pine Bluff is at 2-6 as well. Mississippi Valley 1-7 in conference play. Now back to the Prairie View Panthers. I believe that this loss on Saturday to Alabama State could not have come at a better time. Why do I say that? You're the defending champs. You're still very relevant in conference setting. A whole nother half of basketball remains on the conference schedule. And I think this loss really could have taken some pressure off of them. Let's be honest, 17-1 was a phenomenal year. And it's hard to repeat on that level, on that grind, when you know there's an X on your back. And I'm not disrespecting Alabama State, but anyone who's watched Prairie View basketball know that maybe that was a game they should have won, at least when you're projecting and looking at the schedules. And I know that's why they play the game. But when you look at that, you don't see that as being a major hurdle. But with that becoming a major hurdle, now it's time for this team to refocus, especially as they close out this first half against Alabama A&M on tonight. We know that the stage is going to be set for February the 8th. There's no need to announce it. If you can't get up for Texas Southern, then there's no need for even putting on the purple and gold. Understand that. But now you can start tonight taking care of business and finish up strong on the back end of this race from the Southwestern Athletic Conference on the men's side of basketball. So the tip-off will begin tonight. We gave you the schedule, women starting at 5:30. And of course, they project that the men would start at 7:30, but that's going to depend on the first game. Unless you had another one of those double overtimes that Prairie View had on Saturday, you can end up being a little bit later. But nonetheless, they will play them, and we will give you the update and the status of those games as they cross the finish line. And speaking of the finish line, my time has expired for today, and I'm going to exit stage left. We do want to thank our sponsors for today's episode: Brazos Valley Credit Union, newest location in Waller, Texas; the Prairie View Athletic Club; attorney Lee Van Richardson; Diva Skin Conditioner, located at divafeet.com. That's DIVAH feet.com. The Temple of Refuge Ministries. And of course, you, our loyal and faithful listeners. Don't forget to register and subscribe on our YouTube channel at the Open Mic Broadcast Network, and follow us on our social media handles for Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at The Mike Prince Show. I've got to go right now. My time is far spent. But until the next time, you guys be blessed, and we'll see you on the other side.